You're into the meeting of the inner circle. And after the monologue, we heard from Luther Vandross, Impossible Dream. I used to sing this song when I was a little girl, right? And I could just relate to it personally because it seems to be an impossible dream to have everybody on the right page with loving themselves and consciously caring to boycott that which is about our oppression, our sickness, our illness, our disease, our death. We should not be in a place and space where we're complicit, complacent, and co-conspiring with somebody's agenda that does not have anybody's best interest at heart. The greatest thing that we can do for the whole of us is to be whole. The greatest gift that we can give is the gift of ourselves, the gift of our love. And what happens is that when people are so upset, they mad and angry because they don't have their way, the way they want their way to be, but then they're not trying to be in God's way or interfering to the degree to which we don't understand the best way, the right way to really align ourselves so that we are experiencing all of that that we want. We want attention. We want to be loved. We want to be respected. We want to be valued. We want, we want our ideas and whatnot to be respected. But the issue for us is coming to a point that nobody's idea is greater than God's. You understand? And to be in a place and space where we are not honoring how to be in peace with ourselves, within ourselves. But there's so much delusion, there's so much illusion, there's so much thoughtless and mindless and inconsideration and disregard and disrespect and unappreciation and ingratitude and whatnot when you are given the greatest gift, which is yourself, with each and every breath, every beat of your heart. Oh, I didn't finish telling my playlist. So, Impossible Dream, let me go back to that. And then we had Alicia Keys, We Are Here. Brother Earl, New World Disorder. Better Living with India Ari. Kindred and the Family Stone with All My People. Lauryn Hill's War in the Mind. And from the last poets, For the Millions. Now, back to my soliloquy. I wanted us to really appreciate the gift that we're given. And to come to a point and place where divisiveness, you understand, divisiveness is the issue, divide and conquer. And we don't need to be divided within ourselves. So that's the issue in terms of so much inner conflict. But where we are in this particular dispensation, moving out of the Scorpio frequency into, where are we in? Sagittarius? Moving into Sagittarius, right? But with the Scorpion new moon. So it's really about transformation. It's about how do we allow ourselves to use all of our pain, our frustration, our anguish, our gift, our dissatisfaction, and all of that to have us in a place where we are more self-centered to see how it is we are facilitating all of that. Because nobody can really do against you if you're in alignment with yourself, so that everything is like, there's a affirmation that I give. The creator is a totality of all there is existence itself. So there isn't anything that can work against me. Everything can work towards our greater good. And so how do we see that? We see that in terms of how much more manipulation there is in terms of the food industry, how much more issue there is in terms of how much food poisoning and how much sickness and illness there is. How you watching your mothers and fathers and aunties and uncles and whatnot deal with their amputations from their diabetes and their dialysis and all of the things that we see going on. How does that make you better? Because it puts you in a place where you have to realize that you don't want that path. It can work towards your greater good in giving you more time to reflect and to think about what has created all of this. And that listening to my voice and to hear how other ones are doing their juicing and reversing their issues and whatnot. So yes, it can work towards our greater good because it's putting us in a place where we are contemplating, we are considering, we're reflecting, we're introspecting, we are literally in a place where we can make greater commitments for our lives, for our children, and to even care to be able to assist those that we love in a greater way. I'm at 445238989. And so it matters. It should matter to us that we do not continue to go the path of those whose lives are evidence that there is something out of alignment to bring them into such degrees of suffering, such degrees of fear, such degrees of dependence upon that which has no capacity to bring them into wholeness in terms of just popping medications. And I'm saying, how can somebody give you 3 different medications for high blood pressure? You've been on these things for 14 years and your blood pressure isn't regulated yet? And so before the doctor gives you a pill or whatever, ask them, how long do I have to take the pill before my body kicks in and is able to come back to homeostasis and heal itself? You understand? But they don't know. And this is the issue with the system that touts itself as being a world power and the greatest nation in the world when they have no orientation in respecting the orientation of the earth and the power of the earth, or the responsibility and the insurance of men who are the progenitor of lineages and wombed men, the perpetuator of lineages, the insurance through our spiritual education, our religious training, our education through elementary school, through the upper echelons, and everybody should have been supported in knowing how to be, knowing how to live. And I'm old enough to remember when home economics, swimming, shop, carpentry, electronics, all of these were part of the school system. And it provided so many ones with the support in knowing and having actual skills coming out of school. So taking these things out of school, particularly public schools, particularly schools in melanin dominated communities, was an agenda to undermine our capacity to do for self, to have our own businesses, to put us in a place where a man could feel good about himself because he has the skills and the wherewithal to meet and have value in the community, doing something that needs to be done that people will pay for, so that he is able to provide substantially for his wife and his children, his wives and his children. You understand? Not even babies' mamas, but to really be in a place where we understand that the condition in which we are finding ourselves is an experiment in social engineering, genetic modification, and putting us in a place where we are reduced to being commodity enslaved in a system that doesn't have the right to be continued in existence as a result of being out of alignment and out of order with the laws that govern existence. Therefore, the earth is quivering and quaking. You understand? And I've said before that there are phalanxes, armies of angels scouring the planet to see where the light is with the people, where the people are in light, and where the people are not in any light. Then they have the opportunity to be overturned. And so it matters that we come to a point and place where we realize that the living the lives of humanity, as well as those who are kind of human, lies in the balance, because we are not strong enough to resist or to fight the forces of the earth and the cosmic, because those storms are coming. You understand? Those fires, they were burning. I'm just saying, it's like, look, we don't ever really hear about how people put their lives together after those fires, after those floods, after those tornadoes. We don't really get that kind of information. You understand? And so at this particular point in juncture, the more aligned we are as individuals, harmonized with the will and the light and the love and the peace and the laws of existence itself, the greater our protection, the greater our grace, the greater our favor. We say we highly favored and all of that. So, but it needs to be amplified and magnetized and magnified, because we see how storms can go through and they'll rip these people apart, and these ones are standing right there and they were not touched. Lord, have mercy. How did that happen? So we have to realize that grace is a real thing. Favor is a real thing. And we want to be in a place and space where we can survive the storm. The storm can whirl the chaos all around us, but we find our center and we're in it. Because we are always, always in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence, always present within its presence as points of its presence. But we gotta clean these bloodstreams. We can't keep defiling ourselves and thinking that your prayers are gonna have as much power or as much potency and you have as much protection if the violation is charged upon your blood. I'll be forward in just a bit.
Join us for an afternoon of music with social activist and singer-songwriter David Rovics on Saturday, December 20th at 3 p.m. and social commentary that invites listeners to reflect, connect, and take part in meaningful conversations. This special performance will also feature Cowboy Dave Sinrich. Tickets are $25 in advance and are available on our website, wrfg.org.
The Little Five Points Community Center will hold its open house and annual holiday art sale on December 6th. This event brings together local partners and artists for a celebration open to all. The day includes art, handcrafted items, seasonal creations by local artists, and caterers throughout the day. This family-friendly event begins at 11 a.m. and ends at 6 p.m. The Little Five Points Community Center is located at 1083 Austin Ave Northeast. For more information about the Little Five Points Community Center open house and annual holiday art sale, the website is l5pcc.org. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by your listener-sponsored and supported community radio station, WRFG 89.3 FM and WRFG.org.
I've had a little talk with my stomach, and I've decided to get right. We've made a mutual agreement, and I think at last we both see the light. The proper food and drink I shall give him, that he may do his job successfully, and render every organ of his body free from lack of strength and energy. I've had a little talk with my lungs, and I've decided to treat them right. We've made a mutual agreement, and I think at last we both seen the light. Fresh air and exercise I shall give them, that they may do surrender to this dissipated body, channels to a new vitality. Yes, I had a little talk with my heart, and I decided to treat him right. We made a mutual agreement, and I think at last we both seem to like. Stress and strain of life I will lessen, and he may do his job successfully. Render to the bone of this body, fuel of life that's vastly out of reach. So have a little talk with your organs, and you will find that they treat you right. Just make a mutual agreement that you never more shall touch us or fight. Till you have gone into contract, and you may do the job successfully. Bring about the union of this body, and soon they know totality.
Oh yeah, it's 110 degrees in the shade. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about some serious heat. It's hot. My dick, I'm joking, but I'm not. I'm making fruit salad to wet my palate. I'm blessed and fine, I'm the root to the vine. And Lord blessed be the fruits of the tree. I'm passionate for fruit, how we enjoy you. Like guavas, pineapples, bananas, limes, and apples, lemons, and pears, saying tangerines, and watermelon, all of them. Honeydew, mangoes, and cherries, and grapes, and sweet and sour, cypress fruit, and kiwi, cantaloupe, and tomatoes, too. Raspberries, blackberries, oranges, grapefruit, and muscadine, passion fruit, papaya, tamarind, strawberries, too. Plums, lemon, pomegranates, peaches, and apricots, and nectarines, and skimming on cranberries, avocados, star fruit, berries on the side. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. It's hot. You might think I'm joking, well I'm not. I'm making fruit salad to wet my palate. I'm blessing divine, all the fruits of the vine. Oh Lord, blessed be the fruits of the tree. It started in the south. with your mouth. Food is true food for soul. Help you not to grow old. Fruit of creators, one could get truly opposed to be reckoned with. I'm making fruit salad. Do with my palate. I said I'm making fruit salad. Do with my palate. No, I'm making fruit salad. Do with my palate. Sweet fruit salad. Do with my palate. Oh, and don't forget to plant your seed. Fruit salad. Yeah, some making fruit salad.
There you will find, as you always know, that love will always sit upon the throne. And you will find love's a beautiful thing. It's where echoes shine and reflections ring. Yeah. There is a place where it's always spring and peace abides over everything. There you will find love is always king. It's where echoes shine and reflections ring.
FM, WRFG, Atlanta.
Funding for this program is made possible by listeners like you and the following sponsors. Tambor Party presents Sacred Underground, its fall and winter music series starting on Saturday, November the 29th from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. at the Wish Lounge inside Believe Music Hall in Atlanta. The evening features deep, soulful and Afro-inspired dance music from DJs Stan Zeff, DJ Cash and November Rose. Live instrumentation includes Frank Malloy on dun dun drums, Olori Speaks on Shekere, and Stagger Lee on saxophone. That's Sacred Underground at the Wish Lounge, located at 181 Ralph David Abernathy Boulevard, Southwest in Atlanta. .com.
So we had an unscheduled brief interlude, and we got my star child in training here. So she's going to be doing more music as we move forward and getting herself together here so that if I have to leave, she can sit in and do the thing for us. Or maybe I'll do what she's doing and she'll do what I'm doing. We can get it, make it work. And so we heard from Horace Silver. I've had a little talk. And so talking to your organs, talking to your cells, talking to yourself. And see, this is the thing, when you've been diagnosed with a thing, don't be holding on to that stuff, talking about my diabetes and my this and my that. Girl, boy, please. You best to go on and claim your divinity, knowing that ain't no sickness in God. What y'all claiming that sickness for? Ain't no sickness in God. Ain't no lack in God either. We got to really understand how things are working with us and against us in terms of the capacity that we have for being able to speak truth to power in our own bodies, our hearts, our minds, ourselves, our situations and circumstances. And so after Horace Silver having a little talk with his body, his cells, his organs, his lungs, for all you smokers out there, you know, that reefer, them hookah and all tobacco and all of this stuff, your organs, your lungs are the organ of your spirit. And a lot of people don't think about it because we've been taught to trash our bodies and not to reverence ourselves. And I'm saying that we're made with trillions and trillions of cells, and the cells are being oppressed. The blood is being poisoned, the lymph system is stagnant, and then you got the cancer, the heart disease, the diabetes, and all of that. And most of it is from the proliferation of organisms, pathogens, bacteria, all of this. Like, you wouldn't go into a place of worship. You wouldn't go to the temples or the synagogues or the Taj Mahal or any of these places and then see all kinds of worms and organisms on the wall, all kinds of mold and this and that, and you're going to go in there and pray. You gonna go in there, you see all kinds of creepy crawly things that look like they're coming out of the what's those I don't remember the name of the movies with all of the scary things and all of these creatures and whatnot. It look like the spine of a person and all of these, or these monster kind of
Aliens?
things, right? But that's what they look like inside the body, right? They just made them bigger on screen, And so at this particular point in juncture, I'm saying, yes, y'all, let's get cleaned up. Because, see, that's what they're not expecting. They don't want us to be in a place where we make a determination that we are going to respond correctly and directly to being under a global initiative of depopulation and genocide, where there is genetically modifying things that's creating genetically modified people. Right? And so people talk about all the genetically modified. I said, don't think that we ain't genetically modified. You've been modified, baby. You ain't the original nothing. Well, we did this and we did that and we did this and we did. If y'all did all of that, then why can't you clean your colon? You understand? If y'all did all of that, y'all built the pyramids, y'all did this, y'all. I'm just saying, why we having issues if we all of that? So let's stop. It's not to take away the reality that we are the ascendants or descendants of some great ones, but we should be the greater ones. And the greatness in this now moment is, how do we respond correctly and directly to being under the initiatives of a people who are anti-life, anti-Christ, anti-woman, anti-family, anti-children, you understand, anti-elders, anti-health, anti-beauty, anti-natural, anything. I'm just saying, well, why are we gonna do that? Don't be doing that. And then the other song, Leon Thomas's Echoes, that was lovely. So Star Child got this old spirit about herself, She is really just bringing it on. So we're gonna let her just, she gonna do a whole playlist. Right? She's gonna do a whole playlist for us. And then one day we're gonna get in here with our drums and our flute, and we're gonna just show you how we roll other days other than Thursday. We're at 445-238-9889. And I'm very, very appreciative for all of you all who care to listen. But I want you to go beyond listening. You understand? Because the reality of it is that Radio Free Georgia ain't free. And I've been here 26 years without a paycheck. And I am having to pitch and pitch and pitch. And I feel as though my audience should show up and show out because of the substance and the quality of what I'm bringing forward. But then I'm not showing up on how, people are getting, really donating. You understand? It's like I don't even make the top 10. And I should. And I shouldn't have to call you up on the phone and go out to your house and knock on doors. And I shouldn't have to do all that. Y'all listen, y'all need to share your finances. It could be $5 a week. I know my program is worth more than $5 because if I was paying for commercial radio, I'd be paying $350 an hour or more. And that's why they have so many commercials and so much advertising to pay for the radio. But WRFG is non-commercial. We have the promos, we have the PSAs and whatnot, we have the underwriting. So we have a way of informing the community about things that are going to be in the best interest of the community and not trying to sell you stuff that's going to poison your blood and your system and all of this and have you out in the hookah lounges and the clubs and the whorehouses and where all of you, no. We're at 445-238-9889. We've got a little less than an hour in this program now. Night Watch was intended to be talk radio. And I do quite a bit of talking, but the music and the messaging in the music is part of what makes me love doing radio. Because there are so many ones who are and have come to greater degrees of realization, and they put that into songs and their lyrics and the music and just the quality of the music you know, from old school to now. And so many of those ones who want to be seen and be heard and whatnot have are not well polished in whatever it is they're doing. You know, a lot of people sing because they love to sing. Don't mean that they sing well, don't mean they sound good, but they let their songs be heard. They let their songs be heard, they be rapping and saying all kinds of stuff. And I'm saying it's like music has the capacity to harmonize, and this is why the music industry has been corrupted, you know, and used as a tool of divisiveness, dividing you within yourself with the discordant spirits and the messages. And it's not even really music sometimes. It's just being bombarded with frequencies and energies that are poisoning the waters of your cells. And so I am encouraging us to really understand the power of water. And there's a book called The Power of Water. And then there's a video that you may be able to check out on YouTube called What the Bleep Do We Know? Which really goes and gives us a more pictorial, you know, we like video, we like movies, we don't want to really sit down and read a book, but kind of same information here, right? In terms of really understanding that when you have a lot of negativity in your mind, where you are reliving and rehearsing old stuff, painful stuff, crazy, all of this permeates and it penetrates the waters of your cells. But when you have been feeding off of meat, dairy, eggs, chicken, fish, flesh, flour, pancakes, waffles, breads, biscuits, all of this takes the waters from your cells. And most people are in a state of dehydration, insufficient oxygenation, acidity as opposed to alkalinity. And with the acidity really is deteriorating the fabric of your tissues, which is why so many ones are having to have the hip replacement surgeries and the back surgeries and all of this, because anything that you're consuming other than your medicinal herbs and teas, your fresh fruit and vegetation, your vegetables and things with seed, is going to create acidity in your body. Vegan, vegetarian, it doesn't matter. If it's coming from an animal, it's going to create acidity. The nuts are going to create acidity. So if you're trying to cleanse and whatnot, and you're getting bags of trail mix, and the trail mix has cashews and almonds and cranberries and all of these things, and you do chewing all of that, but your digestive system has already been corrupted with protein and starch. Protein and starch do not digest in our systems well, but that's how we were taught to eat from your first, most powerful meal of the day. You eating eggs and toast, or eggs and grits, and eggs and turkey sausage, or bacon, and this and that. And this stuff, it's like the enzymes in the mouth are neutralizing each other, and by the time you chew it, swallow it, the stomach getting, it be like, I don't know what the hell you just did, but oh, I can't hardly take it. And then you be passing gas, and you be bloating, and all of this, and then by the time you put orange juice or coffee or lattes or sodas or whatever you're drinking behind the meal, you're further diluting your digestive enzymes, so that you got all of this. And this is why we see all of these people with all of this stuff going on, because we are not fueling our bodies. We're not reconstituting the body to be 80% highly charged water. We got tons of mucus, we got tons of acid, we got tons of parasites, organisms, bacteria, viruses, and whatnot, and we are not well. And that's not the will of existence for us not to be well. When wellness is a part of the design, that the body is definitely trying to save itself on a daily basis. And so when you go through the thought process, because of what your body is experiencing, whether you're having eczema, psoriasis, rashes, boils, skin issues, warts, moles, all of this stuff is just the evidence that your body is under siege. And it's the mucus from all of the pancakes, waffles, breads, biscuits, nuts, potatoes, yams, yucca, cassava, all of this stuff. So the mucus is like tenacious and it's holding all these chemicals and all of this, so that when you change your diet and you said, okay, well, I'm gonna go plant-based. So now you're eating a vegan sausage, or you're eating scrambled tofu, or you're eating buckwheat, whole wheat pancakes and pure maple syrup, as opposed to Mrs. Butterworth or Aunt Jemima. You understand? And so I'm just saying is that we have to come to a point, well, you don't have to, but if you really care, you would want to come to this point in place where you are respecting that you are perfectly and divinely designed. So where we heard we're made in the image and likeness of God, and then you don't want to be godly, you don't want to be fine, you don't want to be gorgeous, you don't want to be beautiful, you don't want to be thin, you don't want to be disciplined, you don't want to be highly ethical, moral, you don't want any of what is yours by divine right. What is that? That's behavior modification that comes with the assault of all of these chemicals upon yourselves. I'll be quiet in just a bit.
Quilombo Academic and Cultural Institute is celebrating 20 years of service. To honor 2 decades of community-rooted learning, Quilombo presents the premiere of Educate to Liberate, Building a Liberation School, Quilombo's 20-year journey. This documentary traces the vision who have walked alongside us. In a time when culturally responsive teaching is under attack and books are being banned, we remember the importance of taking the education of our children into our own hands. The event will take place on Thursday, November 20th, at the Porter Sanford III Performing Arts and Community Center, 3181 Rainbow Drive in Decatur. The reception with DJ Dandara, that includes vendors and a silent auction, will take place from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. The film screening begins at 7 p.m. and the vendors and silent auction will conclude from 9 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. For more information and tickets, text 404-992-8021 or access information online at educate2liberate.online. TSK and Goshen Hebrew Academy are part of Educate to Liberate.
This has been another public service announcement from your listener-sponsored and supported community radio station, WRFG Atlanta 89.3 FM, WRFG.org.
The following is a public affairs bulletin board announcement. On Friday, November 21st, from 4 to 5 p.m., there will be a No War on Venezuela visibility protest at Freedom Park on Moreland Avenue, Northeast. Participants are encouraged to bring signs and banners opposing the U.S. military threats of illegal intervention against Venezuela. This protest is sponsored by Atlanta chapters of Black Alliance for Peace, Freedom Road Socialist Organization, Friends of the Congo, and Workers' World Party.
We're at 445-238-989. And so we do not have to wait for a fund drive for you to give something. You can go to wrfg.org and make a donation there. You can use your radio phone apps at WRFG, well, you have the app if you have WRG's app, you can make a donation there. You can use your Cash App with the cash sign 893. Right? Yeah. And so WRFG 893. And so we have to get out of the frequency of energy of feeling as though you cannot afford to support that which supports you. But then you can't afford to support that which is killing you. But then you want to be respected as intelligent people. And so I'm just saying is that when you are, we were talking about remembering a time when we could get watermelon for 50 cents. You know, and I got a guy that does and has some of the best watermelon, but the watermelon we grew is better than the one I got from him this year. I only got one from him this year. But, you know, he could charge you $25 for a watermelon. I remember when watermelons were 50 cents. But I remember when it was like a quarter of fried martyr too. And you know, when we were young, our grandmamas and they would talk about, well, you know, a loaf of bread used to cost a nickel, and they were, you know, crying about it costing $1. And so, you know, it's just more of the same in the difference of this day. But I do have to really consistently, continuously remind us that we will never have anything greater than who and what we already are, what's already been given to us. And to be in a place where we are not enthusiastic. Yeah, you understand, you're lethargic, you're tired, you don't feel good, you're overweight, you're full of waste, you're mad, you're angry, you understand, that is a condition. Your truth, when you align yourself with the truth of the divinity of yourself and you will honor that and you will cleanse and you purify yourself and whatnot, you're going to be feeling like, I said, you can't even feel like $1 million. Y'all don't know what $1 million feel like, but you're going to be feeling much more divine than anything that man can create, because we are not the creation of men. They're trying. He said, oh, they're cloning such and such a thing, and he was a clone, and you know that was a clone, and we don't know what happened to the real one of those. You understand? I hear all kinds of stuff. But the issue for us is coming to a place where we want to show up in our authenticity, we want to show up in our beauty, we want to show up in the wisdom and the light of supreme intelligence. And just as the 20 years of Colombo in terms of education for liberation, you understand? So it's like, no, people have come to a point and place where they decide and made decisions that they're going to create something greater. And that's the wisdom. That's the care. That's the love in expression. When you see that everybody, then it's not just about saying, oh, it's all crazy and it's all this. What you gonna do different? How are you gonna contribute? And you have to do it with yourself. You have to do it with yourself. And we know that when you're grown, you understand, people used to say, well, you can't make nobody do nothing, Adama. You can't. I'm not trying to make y'all. I'm trying to encourage you. I'm trying to inspire you. I'm trying to support you. I'm trying to give you what you are not necessarily going to get in other places, per se, in terms of understanding that you are perfectly and divinely designed, and you are not designed to eat the flesh of dead animals, the aborted fetuses of quail or ostrich or alligator or crocodile or other people. You're not born to eat fetus. And this is why we're having so much womb issue. And so, yeah, I'm having a conversation because it's not what you're hearing. Now, you can hear all of the conversations of motivational speakers, the Zig Ziglars, the Les Browns, is this one or that one. They're not talking about the food. They're not talking about that which we have learned to love as a weapon of our own oppression. And we can get highly inspired and motivated to accomplish whatever we would love to accomplish in the material, physical, temporal, corporal realm. But you're going to leave it here if you can get out of this alive. Whatever you created, it's gonna be here. I was in a place called NCII, which has gold and silver that they ship all over the country for those who are investing in gold and silver. And so as I was introducing myself to the president of the company, this is years ago in Boca Raton, Florida, right? And I'm looking at all of this gold coin and all of the silver coin and all of this all around. They got high security, whatnot, so they could see us before and all the lock and all of that. And Mother spoke to me as I extended my hand to this wonderfully receptive European gentleman. And she says to me, she says, you can hold it. You can hold it, but it's going to stay here with me. Whatever the gold, whatever the silver, whatever, it's going to stay here. You're not going to take any of that with you. But you can spend your life acquiring, holding, feeling, loving, bathing all in it. And I'm saying, you know, when it really comes down to what makes you feel good, you ain't gonna be sleeping with no gold coins and some silver. You're gonna want some warm, some love, some soft, some flesh, you understand? You ain't gonna want all of that. So if you sacrifice that to have that, then you will miss a very important part of yourself. To think that love is not an essential part of what makes you whole. And then to love and withdraw your love because you feel as though you're not getting what you want is not real love. To love and put yourself in a place where you decide you're gonna sit and pout. This is how we used to do it as children. We didn't get what we want, so we sit and pout. We don't say nothing. We sit, the lip poked out, you understand? And people try to talk to you and you turn your head and this and that. I'm just saying that's childish. That's of children. Okay, you doing that as grown folk, you ain't grown, you still a child. You understand? See, this is the issue in terms of understanding the path of maturation. Maturity means that you take care of what's yours to take care of, period, the end. And there's no way that you can really mature and grow and then not serve and not love and not cherish and not treasure and not appreciate and not share and not express and live your gratitude and your thanksgiving. You understand? And see, I'm just saying is that there are ones who think they're in God's way, but that's God's way because the sun keeps shining. You understand? The earth keeps spinning. She don't stop spinning because we acting a fool up here. You understand? She don't withhold because she is unhappy with it. She continues to do, but now she's shivering, quivering, and quaking. You understand? It's like, you can't keep poisoning me. You can't keep disrespecting me. You can't keep dishonoring me. You can't keep pulling and nourishing and then all you give is your waste. All you give is your ugly. And you're being provided everything. Y'all try to make that make sense. It ain't making sense. And so you can sit and pout all you want to. You're wasting time. I mean, you could be rejoicing in the blessedness of your being. Or you could be really healing and facilitating a greater thing. You understand? Sometimes you have to be able to let stuff go. You got to let it roll. You got to be in a place and space where we realize that everybody is in the class of Earth residency, learning how to master self, master your emotions, master your thoughts, master your mind. Because you can, you could pray all day. You could fast and pray all day. And then you let something pull you off and you go way out here over to the stratosphere. And whatnot, you've destroyed the entire integrity of everything that you work for. Because all that negativity and all that screaming and hollering, fussing and fighting and this and that, it undermines and poisons your organs and your tissues and your blood. And so the discipline, and see, that's what makes discipline. You understand? Because we've had, and I know, let me say this, you're in tune to the meeting of the inner circle. I know several instances where men were killed by their wives for their abuse, and where men killed their wives because they wanted to control them, and where children have seen their parents kill each other and whatnot. And I'm just saying all of this is because of the corruption of the bloodstream. Because when you know that we're in it to love, and to love is to nurture, is to nourish, is to strengthen, you understand? But then it's like we don't have that as an objective to care, to share, to support. And it is in the goodness of the heart that you find God. It is in the consistency of honoring and cherishing and treasuring. And I am not one who has not experienced some degree of betrayal, violation, ill will, and all of that. But I can't let that poison me. I can't let it put me in a place where it puts me in a place where I'm not rejoicing in the gift and the blessedness of my being. Because I know that people don't necessarily get me sometimes, most of the time. And I've been in this a long time. You understand? And even those who have respect and appreciate me, and some of you may be some of the ones that I'm talking about here. The issue is that for whatever I have not done that you wanted me to do or thought about, that puts you in a position where you don't deal with me. That's how we love. We don't forgive. We don't continue to show up because of the care. We treat people the way we treat ourselves, and because we mistreat ourselves, and that's the real divisiveness. Then we are not necessarily being able to honor and love and take full advantage of the love that we have access to. Because there are so many ones who are not going to love you to life, not care to have you in a place of accepting correction. And then, there's so many ones that want to compete. I'm not here to compete with you. You understand? There's no competition in the kingdom of God. Everybody is divine in their own divine right. Everybody is beautiful in their own care, in their own individuality when they are not divided within themselves. And so it's a conversation that is a natural conversation. I don't have anything on script here in terms of what I'm talking about, but all of what I bring to these airways is by virtue of what's showing up, who's showing up, the conversations that are happening, the things that are happening. So yes, it's here to be addressed. So I can say it, release it, let it go. Because what I know is that I have established myself as a mature woman. I'm not a child. And I know what it is to have grace, to have salvation, to be delivered. And I know that the daily communication and care and service and consideration and whatnot is multiply that millions of times than the divisiveness and the killing and the undermining and the poisoning and whatnot. I'm just saying is that the way of God is going to be the way of our victory and our triumph. If you care to be victorious and triumphant. But there is no way that we can follow a system of sickness, illness, disease, and death and have anything other than sickness, illness, disease, and death. There is no way that you can feel entitled to dishonor, disrespect, disregard, undermine withhold, and then think that you're going to have every good thing available to you. You're going to block your blessings because you're not trying to be the blessing. And the ones who talk about the be-lessing, I'm not talking about be-lessing. I'm talking about understanding what it is to have the energy, the initiative, the intelligence, the care, to respect, to honor, to appreciate, to be in an attitude of gratitude because you are this point of the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence. And then to be able to look at the ones around you. People say, well, I'm looking for my tribe. But we're all interconnected. And we meet ones and ones who are reflections of where we are not with ourselves, or where we are what are not with the intelligence of our being. And people provide us with some insight and inspiration for our greater growth, or not. But when you find yourself in a place where you have no one around you who's loving you, really loving you, 9 times out of 10 is because you created that. Are you loving you? And we all have the time to understand the power of what it is to be in solitude and solace, particularly now, when you are aware that you want something greater and better than what ones around you are choosing for themselves. And so when you refer to yourself as the black sheep of the family, you're the one who everybody think was crazy because you was trying to be vegan and vegetarian when you was a 6-year-old. You know, you had more sense as a child than those that you're around even now. And they be like, you know, you was always strange. You was always that one. And it's okay. You understand? It's okay to be the one who really doesn't go on with like everybody else. It's all right to not be like everybody else. But you want to be in a place and space where you care to be in the integrity of the truth of yourself. You want to be in a place and space where you can truly know that what you do on a daily basis is going to be an enhancement. But to live your life having been given every good thing and then have no gratitude and no thanksgiving for it, that all you could focus on is what you didn't get and what they didn't do, and you keep reliving your pain and all of that, and you making yourself sick. I'm at 404-523-8989. We've got a little less than 20 minutes in the program. And I have no idea who's listening. I have no idea how you are internalizing, if any of what I'm saying is resonating with you. But I am saying it because we are in such a dynamic and auspicious place in this now moment of eternity, in that we can do the self-reflection, look at where we are, look at what we're happy with, look at what we're dissatisfied with, and begin to really regain our footing by remembering that we dwell in the presence of this absolute and supreme intelligence, remembering that we have the opportunity to change our lives by changing our thoughts, change our lives by cleansing our blood, change our lives by being committed to living, change our lives by adopting an attitude of gratitude, change our lives by literally caring, to love, to forgive, to release, to let go, and to cherish and treasure the gifts and the blessings that you are already in possession of. Now, what being under the auspices of a system of oppression with the meat, the dairy, the eggs, the chicken, the fish, and all of that, you can still be creative per se, but you still will not ever have the fullness of the levity of exalted thought when your blood is defiled. You still will not have the fullness of your creativity, even though you're talented. And this is where the government here went awry by poisoning everybody, so that they start sourcing out all of this work because the people themselves within the states were asking too much money and they don't want to pay much money. You understand? And so our European brothers and sisters who begin to lose jobs because the companies they were working for did not want to give them what they were worth, and they're sending all of the jobs to India, they're sending them to the Philippines, they're sending them to all of these other places because they was paying too much money, because their profit became more important than the stability and the wealth of the people themselves. And so this system doesn't work for anybody in truth when they undermine everybody's children, when they're making sure that we have access to so much toxicity, so much artificial colors and flavors and alcohol and tobacco and all of the things that poison the bloodstream, usurp the capacity of creative and dynamic thought, and put us in a place where we have youth that don't know how to write, who are not able to command the language to speak truth to power. And so those of you who are of childbearing, child-rearing ages, then you have to really be mindful that you cannot do what was done. You cannot continue this thing of breakfast cereals and candy and all of this snack food and these Takis and all of the Doritos and all of this garbage. You cannot continue this legacy of treating your children to that which undermines their development. And for us to be in a place where we have so many women who are in the school systems, in the hospitals, in the military, and do not honor the gift that they've been given, or the duty, obligation, and responsibility that is theirs as women, the perpetuator of lineages, to know how to really care for self. So women who poison themselves will poison their children as well as their loves. Women who do not care to be cleared and cleansed and purified and consciously doing that which is going to ensure consistent elevation in consciousness with the cleansing of the blood, the cleansing of the womb, the honoring of the perfect and divine design, and continue to support the violation of other females, the cow, the sow, the chicken, the hen. We can't support the violation of other feminine energies and then bring their prodigy and their body fluids and their flesh into our body temples and not have the tumors that are the collection of those poisons, the tumors in the breast, the cancer in the lymph, the tumors and fibroids in the womb. And so our right response to being under a system of oppression is to do nothing to undermine yourselves, to liberate yourselves from all of this sludge with the daily internal cleansing, purification, and consecration. And your number for life support is 404. Nope, 678-760-9299. And we've got 15 minutes left in the program for anyone who wants to call and speak with me directly at 404-523-8989. I'll be forward in just a bit.
The following is a public affairs bulletin board announcement from your station for progressive information, WRFG 89.3 FM.
Freedom University is an Atlanta-based freedom school for undocumented students like me. My name is Kathy, and I'm one of Georgia's 50,000 undocumented young people who are deeply committed to our education, despite Georgia's notorious Board of Regents policies 416 and 434, which ban us from equal access to public universities in Georgia. Did you know that Freedom University is the only underground school for undocumented students in the world? Each semester, students choose classes in the fields of human rights, college preparation, arts, STEM, and well-being. Beyond the classroom, Freedom U also provides students, like me, with mental health support and comprehensive legal representation, all at no cost to students. Freedom U is able to provide us with courses and holistic support thanks to the generosity of everyday people in Atlanta who recognize our human rights and dignity. Freedom U also conducts Know Your Rights trainings with our students, as well as with folks in the larger community to help everyone become more knowledgeable of how to support and protect undocumented neighbors. If you would like to learn more about Freedom University's work empowering undocumented students like me and making our communities safer, the website is www.freedom-university.org, and the Instagram is fu_Georgia. Thank you so much for your love and solidarity.
For over 40 years, the Arts Exchange has been a vital resource for Atlanta's arts community, working with local artists and community members to create and share cultural traditions. Committed to supporting diverse artistic voices, the Arts Exchange provides multicultural, multidisciplinary, and intergenerational opportunities for learning and creative expression through workshops, exhibits, and community-driven events. To learn more about the programs and initiatives at the Arts Exchange, the website is Arts Exchange.
And so I am so very grateful and so thankful for the opportunity to speak my heart and have my heart speak. I'm grateful and thankful to understand the power of forgiveness, releasing, and letting go. Grateful to understand boundaries that have to be created for those who don't respect your boundaries and don't respect you and don't honor. I'm grateful to understand that at a certain point you can't help everybody. because everybody's not trying to really do the best for themselves. I understand that at some point you have to be very discriminating as to how to help people, because sometimes not helping them in the way that they're asking to be helped is the greatest help you can give them, because at some point they have to do what's in their own best interest. And you hear people say, well, God helps the ones who help themselves. And we're all being helped. We're all being supported. We all have access to so much. And then act as if we don't. You understand what I'm saying? People are working every day to make sure that we don't get the same water that you are defecating in that's coming right out of your faucet back to you. You understand? You got people who are taking all of your waste away, and even if they're making mountains of trash, you don't have to deal with it. You understand? We have so many, everybody's not intended to be self-employed. And even those of us who are self-employed still are dependent upon people supporting them. You know, so you can't be a detriment to yourself and be antagonistic and nasty and mean and all of that and then have a successful business. Because the success in business is a success in being, in truth. And we have these ones that, you know, it's like, well, you need to do it like these people do. I don't follow people well, and I never have. But the issue is that I am reminding us that there is a right way to be. And it's not happenstance. And it's not like when some people would think, oh, well, what's good for me, what's good for you ain't good for me. No, what's good is going to help you, nourish you, strengthen you, remind you, facilitate you. You understand? We're all designed perfectly. You understand? And so the issue is respecting our divine design, regardless of what our differences may be in terms of our hue, in terms of our language, in terms of what part of the earth we came into this realm on. You understand? Everybody should be concerned about their better wellness. Everybody should be concerned about whether their children are going to survive the onslaught against life. Everybody should be in a place where they are consciously caring to be vehicles and vessels of love, light, wisdom, and truth, coming to a point and place where, yeah, you want to make a difference in this realm. Because we've been given the capacity for thought, for language, for speaking, for being, and the responsibility to honor the lineages through whom we've come, and to walk in the integrity of that which is the source of all being. But you cannot be about the liberation of your own group or the prospering of your own group and then launch war against other ones and then be able to survive it. So for all of the wars that all of the governments are participating in, for all of the genocide that they're participating in, we, as the populace, must come to a point and place where we're not a detriment to ourselves in order to have leverage and in order to really mature to the degree to which we are and becoming sovereign within our own body temples, because we are harmonized within the laws that govern us, and we have done and are doing consistently the inner work of caring and consecrating and purifying and honoring and nourishing and oxygenating and hydrating and mineralizing and loving and releasing. You understand? When people's bowels are blocked up, I got a call the other day that sister's bowels had moved in days and days. In days and days. And I've experienced working with ones and ones. I couldn't get water down the throat. I couldn't get water up the rectum and whatnot. And people are dying in the waste that's being created from all of the indigestible flesh, eggs, cheese, all of this stuff. So let us come to a point in place where we are all right with fresh fruit, vegetation, leafy greens, and doing that which is going to relieve us of the blockage and obstruction and the chemicals and the parasites and the things that are putting us in a place where we are not rightly aligned with the beauty and the peace and the order and the care and the frequency of our creativity and the initiative to create heaven on earth. The conscious care to be fully participatory as the emergence of the queendoms and kingdoms of God upon the planet. Because there's nothing else that is guaranteed success except for the fall of the wicked and the just reward for all of the seeds that have been sown, that there will be a harvest that is consistent with the nature of the seeds that have been sown. And some people call that karma. Good, bad, ugly, otherwise. So if you never hear me again, know that I'm for you. I'm for the best of you. I'm for the wholeness of all of us, including Mother Earth, Mother Nature, all of her creatures, and every hue of people on all continents, in every order of being, within the earth, within the oceans, within the rivers, the seas, on the mountaintops. And so on behalf of the lineages through whom we've come and all of the blood that has been spilled upon this planet, let us come to a point where we care to be completely freed of violation, of anger, frustration, madness, discord, chaos. And we do that by consistently consecrating, clearing, cleansing, praying without ceasing, loving this absolute and supreme intelligence with our whole body, heart, mind, with all of our might, so that the spirit of the living God, Goddess, is completely re-enthroned in her temple, in its temple, and we have become truly recognizable from the exalted realms. Because if there come a day where the earth is moving through the proton belt where the electricity doesn't work, it will have to be the light of our souls that will be seen from other realms. Your number for life support, 678-760-9299. And in the meantime, in between time, continue to rejoice in the blessedness of your being and be the blessing you are. I love you with the perfect